song. I thank the Lord for Sister Martin for her prayer. Thank God for the scripture reading of Sister Beard. Yes, Pastor does pay attention while he's in his study. I hear all. And we thank God so much for your presence here on tonight. So good to have Reverend Johnny May, third person here, along with several of you, my wife and my boys. Let us read from God's Holy Writ, 5th chapter of John. 5th chapter of the book of John, beginning at verse 1. Good to see Reverend Karen Roach. I'm sorry, Reverend. I understand, but I want to make sure you are recognized. Walk right by her, too. Beginning at the first verse. After this, there was a festival of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now in Jerusalem, by the sheep gate, there is a pool called in Hebrew Bethesda, which has 5 porticos, and these lay many invalids, invalids being the blind, the lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been there a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, and while I'm making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me." Jesus said to him, "Stand up, take your mat, and walk." At once the man was made well, and he took up his mat and began to walk. Come by here tonight to speak from the topic of the people at the pool. The people at the pool. As a young boy, I vividly remember summertime, how back in those days, Sister Renee, we had swimming pools. Every part had a swimming pool, and I would like to go to the pool to swim. And I played football and basketball, and I wanted to show off my muscles, Sister Washington. And then they had a couple of females out there at the pool, and so you couldn't tell us anything. Me and the guys that played basketball and football together. And we didn't do much swimming. We didn't do hardly any swimming. But that wasn't the point. The point was to go there with the swimming clothes on. and just act cool. And in fact, if you walk by the pool every now and then, somebody would just throw you in. And everybody would just laugh at you while you try to scramble for dear life if you didn't know how to swim. And then if you didn't know, somebody would come in and get you. We didn't want you to die. We just laughed a little bit at your expense. But you learn how to swim quick.
That's right.
If you were thrown in. But we were all at the pool, young, old, was really no lifeguards. Come to think of it, we were really putting our life in danger. There were no lifeguards on duty, just children out at the pool. And nobody went to, I think about it now, nobody went to use the bathroom. That shows you how nasty young folks were. I didn't see one person leave the swimming pool to go to the bathroom. They just stayed in the pool all night, all day. Those that were in the pool. And so most of us stayed outside the pool, you know. But there were just several people at the pool. And one of the problems nowadays is Tuskegee is majority black, so it's always been pretty much black. But in integrated cities such as Tulsa, once the pools got integrated, there for some reason stopped being funding to keep pools open.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden it's just too expensive now to keep pools open and to keep lifeguards there after the pools were integrated. And so at one time you had everybody going to the pool, and now it seems that only we have splash pads. That's all we have now, splash pads in our community, and no more swimming pools for our children to swim or to learn to swim in. So this people at the pool has been very nuanced throughout history. But in this text, we see Jesus going to the pool, passing by the pool. And in this particular case, it was the pool called Bethesda, which literally means in Hebrew Aramaic, the house of mercy. And this pool had 5 porches where people, the sick, would come and they would gather, and they waited on the water to be stirred in the pool. And there was a belief that when the water was stirred, it was caused by an angel of God. And there was healing in the water once the water was stirred. So the sick came and sat there by the pool, waiting day in and day out for the water to be stirred. And when the water was stirred by the angel, they would hurriedly run into the pool to be cleansed from whatever infirmity they might have. Well, this one day, Jesus was at the pool, and the Bible says that he saw a man there. There was this one man there. Out of the blind, the lame, and the paralyzed, the Bible said that there was one man there who had been lying there for 38 years. 38 years he had been there at the pool. And when Jesus saw him lying there, and Jesus knew how long he had been there, because he's Jesus. Jesus comes up to the man, and Jesus, because he's Jesus, he knew all the times that the lame man had missed the stirring of the water. So Jesus asked him, he said, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. While I am making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me." Jesus said to him, "Stand up, take up your mat, and walk." Be quiet. When we see this man at the pool, the place of healing, the place of restoration, the place where the ill go to get made well. And we see that for 38 years, this brother had been at the pool. But more importantly, we see that out of all the folk at the pool burning, Jesus fixed his eyes on one man. Out of all the sick, out of all the lame, out of all the paralyzed, out of all the blind, Jesus fixed his eyes on one man that had been there for 38 years. Lame man, a man who couldn't move, a lame, having a body part, especially limbs so disabled to impair freedom of movement, or quite simply stiffness or soreness. Blind people who could not see where they were going, could not see their left from their right. Paralyzed people who had no feeling in their body. Jesus fixed his eyes on this man that had been there 38 years. That is longer than I have been alive, Brother Friedman. I'm still just 36. My body doesn't feel like it, but my birth certificate says I was born in 1982. But this man had been at the pool for 38 years, watching other people get blessed, watching other folk come and cut him off. Yeah. He's trying to get into the water. He's trying to get his help. He's at the right place, even at the right time. But he, for some reason, doesn't have anybody. He doesn't have any son there to sit with him. He doesn't have a wife there to push him. He doesn't have an auntie there to encourage him. His mother, his grandmother, nobody is there for him. But he still comes back year after year. After year, after year, and constantly year after year, seeing people who he was there before him. He was there before them, but they get their blessing before he does. They've been a part of the church for 2 days. You've been a part of the church for 20 years. You've been working for the job for 30 years. Somebody come there 3 days, they got promoted on top of you. And you watch this year after year, month after month, week after week, and day after day. And you are there. You are there where you are supposed to be. And you are there where God is moving the water. But you are the only one that seems to constantly miss the blessing. You are the one that constantly, you get in just a second too late. The discount ended right when you walked through the mall. Everybody else got 2 for 1. You come in, I'm sorry, that sale just expired. Your gift card just expired. The promotional period just expired. Right before you come in. So the heartache of this man, but the perseverance to keep coming back year after year, expecting, trusting, believing that this time is going to be better. This time the Lord will see about me. That's why the Bible says, grow not weary in well doing, for in due season you will reap if you faint not. The people at the pool, some of them had been there 2 days and got healed. He had been there 38 years. Never saw a healing. Doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem right at all that the very people who helped build this country are the main ones being prosecuted and persecuted by this country. It doesn't seem right. African Americans to have built this country and labored in this place, and we see everybody else who comes in after us grow and go faster than us. But we keep coming back. We keep staying and trusting. And the good news is that the Lord, the Bible says in this text, but Jesus saw this one man he fixed his eyes on this one man that had been looked over, even by the angel of God, even by the working of the water, even by the stirring of the water. It stopped when he got in because he didn't get in quick enough. See, sometimes that's the hardest thing to watch. God bless somebody or bless everybody except for you. That's the hardest thing for Christians. Now, for atheists, they don't believe in God, ain't a big deal for them. But one of the hardest things for Christians is to watch God bless everybody except for you. And you know you still believe in him and you trust in him. And then the miraculous part about it is that he kept coming back Sunday after Sunday for worship service. Week after week for 10 o'clock, for 1:30 broken out, for 5 o'clock SOS, for 12 o'clock Bible study, for 5 o'clock Bible study. You coming to get your blessing. Coming to receive your breakthrough. And you see everybody else is grown in their faith. But you. But Jesus saw this man. And Jesus asked him, he said, do you want to be made well? And sometimes a lot of preachers get on his brother because of his response. Because he did give Jesus an excuse. Jesus said, do you want to be made well? And he said, well, I don't have anybody to put me into the pool. And when I try to put myself in the pool, he obviously cannot walk or cannot run, so he tries to probably elbow his way into the pool. He says, somebody else comes out and get in front of me. Now, I know we would say, well, if we were there, we would help him out. We would help push him into the pool. What if you were sick too? And you needed your blessing just as bad as he needed his. So don't get mad at the other folk who cut him off. Because if you were sick, if you were ailing, if you or your child had a disease, and you know it was but a matter of seconds that the stirring of the waters could heal your body, how many of us would have brought right on over that lame man that had been there 38 years and got the blessing before him? But the problem is not just that from the other people at the pool, but it's the fact that even those who got their healing never came back, Sister Wolf, to help this man that they crossed over to get their blessing. Now, I understand survivalists, you want to get yours. I understand that. And there's no courtesy in Armageddon. There's no courtesy, there's no chivalry during the end times. The Bible talks about that, how even woe to the mothers that have babies that are suckling, because it is a terrible time. There's nobody holding the door open for you when you're trying to run out of a burning building. No. Every man or woman for themselves. And that's not good, but that's just the reality. I hope Christians will be different. But even those that got their blessing, for them never to come back to help the individual that they walk right in front of. You know you cut him in line. Right. You know you walked over him to get your blessing. In the temple. It's in the church. Yeah, this is in the house of God. You got folk acting like this. I know it's hard for us to imagine children of God acting so unruly and so ungodly in God's house. But it happens. People, children of God, acting unruly in God's house because they just want a blessing so bad. And so what Jesus said, he said, do you want to be made well? I'm almost finished. And the man said, I have nobody put me in the pool. Jesus said, stand up, take your mat, and walk. The Bible says, at once, the man was made well. And he took up his mat and began to walk. The people at the pool who had cut him off, the people at the pool that were already scheming their game plan of how they were going to get into the water, saw this man who had been there when they got there, and they thought he was going to be there when they left. They're so focused on getting to the water to get the blessing from the angel that they forgot who was right next to them in the first place. And sometimes, beloved, we can get so caught up in wanting to get to a particular spot or a particular place to get our blessing. Preachers who want to go to a particular church or a particular town to get their blessing. Nobody want to come to Tulsa. People thought I was crazy for coming to Tulsa. No black folk in Tulsa, nobody in Oklahoma. But they were mistaking the place for the blessing. Because see, I believe that God will bless wherever you are because of where He is. And I don't care what offer you have, I don't care what opportunity you have. Others may want to go there, others may be dying to get there and crossing over a sick person or sell out their mama or their brother just to get there. But God is coming by to the people at the pool. And He is looking for those that have been washed over and looked over and walked over and stomped over and said, do you want to be made well? I don't want to hear about what you haven't been able to do. I understand you weren't the firstborn. I understand you had a single mom. I understand you hadn't gone to college. I understand you don't have a job. But do you want to be made well? I understand you got a record. I understand you got an addiction. I understand you got daddy issues. But do you want to be made well? I understand that you have an illness. I understand that you have arthritis. I understand that you have high blood pressure. But do you want to be made well? And if you have made up in your mind that, yes, I want to be well. Yes, I want to do right. Yes, I want to be all that God has called me to be. Then by God, He will tell you, well, stand up today and lift up your mat and walk. Don't worry about what you don't have and realize who is standing right here with you. Understand, you don't have to be in Bixby or Jinx to get your blessing. You don't have to be in New York City or Dallas, Texas to get your blessing. But right here in North Tulsa, hallelujah, right there at McLean High School, right there at Emerson Elementary, God can bless you wherever you are. Come ye disconsolate, whatever be tired, know that God will take care of you. These doors of the church are open to anyone